Hello, everyone. Welcome and happy Friday. Hope that you are having a good one. Welcome to another one of these wonderful, ridiculous, terrible episodes of Longtime Watcher, First Time Writer. It is episode 65, and I am your longtime watcher, King Fats the 95th, joined by a slightly different crew of first-time writers, which this time includes B-Drops.
Hello.
The Iliandic Nonagon.
Salutations.
And our special guest for today's episode, Public Opinion.
Hello.
Sitcom clapping and cheering. Thank you.
The Dandy OKKO bit.
Action Shakespeare is currently not available for this episode. She is out doing something, and so we have called in the reinforcements. We've called for backup, and Pio is going to be joining us for this episode of Longtime Watcher, First Time Writer. Pio, welcome to the show. How you been?
I'm doing good. I didn't get a chance to chime in on Kuga, but I watched all of it, and it was you were right. Show is good.
You know, that was something that we were saying very often about Kuga.
Yeah, Kuga good. I'm so glad.
I'm glad we got the message across.
Kuga's so good.
I'm glad you got the message. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hope you've been enjoying Black thus far. Do you have any thoughts about the episodes previous to the ones we'll be covering, since you did watch all of those?
So, yeah, in the pre-episode 13 stuff, I kind of, I expected it to, have a little bit more of a narrative through line, but I don't mind it being mostly episodic, but I do really enjoy the style of Black. It's got that 80s kind of neon aesthetic, especially in those early episodes. A lot of dark, wet streets with lights, and some good suits too. Some good suits and some less good suits, but overall, some pretty quality suits.
Do you have a favorite thus far from those first 12 episodes?
I think they really hit the ground running with the Spider-Men. Those were they put their best freak forward on those guys for sure.
Yeah, the Spider-Men really are truly fantastic examples of the suit design in this show.
Yeah. Not just the suits, but some good suit acting, some really freaky movements from the gang.
Real creatures.
Yeah, these were professionals at this point. They'd been in the game for a while. They were like, "Oh, you want a freak ass Spider-Man? I got you. Check me out."
Really honed their freak craft. I'm so delighted to see it.
Yeah. In their free time, they do this exact same thing to scare their children.
Sure.
Or embarrass their children.
Yeah, it depends on the age, really.
Take them to McDonald's, walk them through the door like that.
Just picturing Lizard Man ordering a sandwich like that.
In costume, but with his son.
Oh.
That'd probably be fun. I love those production photos of people just hanging out with the people in suit. Like those photos of people walking around like they're on a date with Godzilla.
Oh yeah, so good.
I love that.
They're the best.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen a lot of Toku ones of those. I mostly see the horror film going around of Pyramid Head just chilling on set.
Mm-hmm.
That rules. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, unfortunately there aren't a ton of Toku ones. Although thank goodness, original Ichigo did bless us with the series of Shocker Kaijins on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Those pictures are so good.
Oh, the rotary phone. I love it.
Those pictures are absolutely amazing.
Along with them being reprised for Shin Kamen Rider, there's also some fun behind-the-scenes productions of that movie in general. Those are just delightful whenever I come across them.
I think more Toku should have behind-the-scenes photos that get released on the internet that we can all point and look at and say, wow.
We are begging.
Please send them to our podcast's email.
Please. We actually do have an email. We don't, put it out, but we do.
Yeah. If you've got Toku production photos that you would like to email to us, reach out to us.
firsttimewriterpod@gmail.com for all of your business inquiries, please.
We keep joking about it, but if you are G Fuel and you want to sponsor us on our podcast, firstridepod@gmail.com.
G Fuel, please. I've gotten most of my friends to try G Fuel at least once. Please. Give me money for it.
Hit us up. Tokushatsu, G Fuel. Give us a ring-a-ding-a-ding.
We will shill for you.
We will 100% shill. But first we're going to go ahead and shill these episodes. Which for today's episode we're gonna be doing things a little bit different. Shake's not being here is not going to be the only change to this episode. We're gonna be trying a new format in a couple of different ways. First and foremost being that we are going to be working on covering more episodes per episode. So we are going to be doing 5 episodes this time, as you may have recalled from the last time. So that's going to be episodes 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. The other thing that we are going to be doing is, instead of going through them one by one, I'm going to go ahead and just read all of the synopsises for these 5 episodes off of the wiki, and then we will allow ourselves to, as we see fit, speak of what caught our interest, what caught our eye, what we wanted to talk about from each episode. We will obviously make a point to try to go in episode order, but we are going to not force ourselves to be beholden to it.
Effectively, if you've been with us for a lot of the episodes thus far, we want to spend less time on the fluff and really get to what we want to talk about and what struck us with the series, and we're hoping that this nonlinearity really helps condense that so we can put on a better podcast for all the folks out there.
Because there's only so much time we can dedicate to talking about how hot these actors are, so we have to move on.
And honestly, Kotaro has not caught our fancy in the way that our other writer protagonists have.
I think he's just kind of a sweetie pie.
I'm a big Kotaro fan. I love his jacket.
His look is so good.
One of these episodes coming up, there will be space to gush about a hot guy.
Yeah, you're telling me.
Oh my god. Yes.
But that's putting the cart before the horse.
Exactly, a thing that we do too often. Hence why we want our episodes to be a little less linear.
Yes or no? Is the person in question the what did I describe him as? The comrade in gender?
That sounds about right, probably.
Probably.
Yeah, I know you were talking about.
And we should let the people know who we were talking about. So let's get through these synopses real quick. Starting with episode 13, Mama's the Monster Raising Official. Original air date December 27th, 1987. The synopsis reads thusly: Golgum kidnaps mothers to nurture its army of mutants, and Black finds himself facing an implacable enemy. Next, we have Kamen Rider Black episode 14, the day Tuna disappeared. Sorry, not the day the Tuna disappeared, just Tuna, full stop. Original air date January 10th, 1988. Synopsis: Kotaro fights to stop the abduction of Tuna by Professor Kuromatsu in order to gain an extract to improve the power of Gorgon mutants. Next is The Targeted Bazaar Academy. Original air date January 17th, 1988. Kotaro tries to stop a Golgum scheme to use schools to mold children into model students to assist in their control of Earth. I like that it doesn't even put model in quotes. Really buries the lead on that one. And then finally, episode 16, Friend, Crossing the Sea. Original air date January 24th, 1988. They done forgot the synopsis on this one on the Wiki Boys.
Oh no.
Luckily, I can totally recount that one from memory.
I mean, I think we all can. I guess just in an attempt to give a synopsis of some sort, Kotaro encounters a mysterious man attempting to assassinate a researcher who is in possession of an ultra quartz, which Golgum wants to use for evil.
And then episode 17.
Oh, we did have one more, didn't we?
Yes.
Shit, thank you. Hey, first time we're doing this, folks. Episode 17. This is the actual last one. Kyoko's Strange Dream. Original air date January 31st, 1988. Golga manipulates the dreams of Nobuhiko's sister Kyoko in order to use her life energy to save an ailing shadow moon.
An ailing Nobuhiko.
Yeah, also known as Nobuhiko. If you don't remember that they're turning Nobuhiko into Shadow Moon.
I think it's really funny that they decided to describe him as Shadow Moon and not Nobuhiko.
It's an interesting choice.
Or even like Shadow Moon, aka Nobuhiko, or something.
Yeah, it full on stops at Shadow Moon. Yeah, it's very funny.
In my notes, I used the episode titles given on my source, so I have slightly different ones. I have a different vibe in a few spots.
I'm so curious.
Yeah, episode 13, I have Mama Raises Monster Babies. The Day All Tuna Vanished. Episode 15, Assault on a Haunted School.
Sure, that's a different episode entirely.
Friend from Across the Sea, just kind of a rephrasing. And ditto for 17, Kyoko's Mysterious Dream.
Oh.
Ooh.
I'd like to take just a quick sojourn, and let's just do a real quick nasty Marvin rub down on our monsters for these 5 episodes.
Yeah. All right.
So episode 13 features for us the return of Connie Bubbler. We have a fucking crab man. I was very happy to see we had a crab. I was extra excited, as if you look at my notes you see, because his return was heralded by the return of our queen, our hero. Ladies and gentlemen, she's back for one more wild ride. Scrubbing Bubbles.
Yes.
Here to fuck you up. You'll love to see it.
And what a glow up.
What a glow up for Scrubbing Bubbles.
Looking delicious.
I can't recall if I brought this up in Ichigo, but like, it seems very common that like crab, like from Kamen Rider to Pokemon, that crab monsters get a bubble attack. Is this just a thing?
I was wondering, like, what is it with Japanese crabs and bubbles? Is there a connection there that I'm missing?
I believe so.
Apparently.
Tell us about it, Nanagon.
Well, I'm doing a live skim of this. However, according to aquariumguy.net, is breathing, dehydration, stress, irritation, acclimation issues, molting process, or injury.
Okay, to my knowledge, it was breathing, and the way that they breathe can indicate issues, but I'm no crab expert. My goodness, that's the WebMD of headaches, kind of.
True.
If crabs, like, give off bubbles as, like, a stress response, I can understand that kind of, like, being interpreted as an attack. You know, you agitate this crab and it bubbles at you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It definitely makes sense why it's consistently like an attack.
I think this crab man looks delicious.
I had a feeling you would.
I was very curious about this.
They've been winners thus far, for sure, but this one is, like, realistic in a sense that makes him look tastier.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this is a real high quality crab. Like, this is a crab-ass crab man.
Like, look at his joints. Look at his crusher claw. I want to eat that.
I really need to, like, drive home how much that these suits are pretty much at their peak.
Their peak juiciness.
Yeah, there's gonna be no two ways about it. You'll be able to pick that thing out as a crab in a crowd.
Yum.
You'd find this man in a world. Where's Waldo? You'd be like, oh, yeah, that's a crab.
I'm overcome with the urge to break his legs open.
Yeah, bust them open.
Yeah, look at them.
He do be looking bright red and delicious.
He looks so butterable.
Dunk this man in some butter.
Yeah, where's the butter bath when you need it?
Yeah, I need to go fill the bathtub with butter again. I'm sorry for talking so much about this cool suit just being something I want to eat.
Would you not be honored if someone was like, I would like to eat the thing that you have drawn? It looks delicious.
I think it depends on the drawing, and also depends on what they mean by eat, but you make an excellent point.
So long as it's a compliment, I suppose that's pretty nice.
You know, if you draw like a big parfait and someone's like, "Oh my god, I need to eat that fucking parfait," it's like, yeah, hell yeah, I made a good parfait. You know who made a terrible parfait? Mammoth Man.
I wanted to love him so much.
He's kind of goofy in a fun way.
He's a little scrungly.
He's a little scrungly just in suit, but also like the way he acted in the episode. He was a little bit of a goofster.
He loves tuna. Why didn't they make like a shark or something? Or any
loves tuna.
I just think it's really funny that for the episode where they're using taurine extract from tuna to power up their monsters, which I'm still pissed about, what was the point of your stupid Gorgameth fruit?
Listen, they didn't know that taurine was a thing. They don't have tuna on Golgum.
I hate these people.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Yeah, listen, yeah. I also had a note that said Gorgum monsters are powered by Monster Energy.
Monster Energy, please sponsor us. Monster Energy, I went to college. You know how much I drink you.
Monster Energy, I had to do an exam today that I spent a very long time studying for. I've spent so much money on Tall Boys, please.
I will say, the suits are, the quality's generally pretty high, but anything with hair gets dicey. Mammoth in this round, and I think Goat Monster previously are kind of like the best case scenarios.
That's fair.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think it's just that, really good realistic hair is kind of hard to duplicate and have be, malleable in the way that you need for what these suits need to be able to do. And it's especially hard to keep it looking good because it gets dirty so easily.
Yeah.
There is another thing I think is neat about the Mammoth, but I'll save that for once we're into his episode a bit.
Sure. Our monster for episode 15 is Gamera, and an extremely good Gamera at that. This is another one of those. Listen, you give these motherfuckers a reptile or an insect, and they're gonna knock it out of the goddamn park every time.
I love this guy.
Real good articulation on the head, very good face mask kind of thing going, and nice effects on withdrawing the limbs into the shell for shell attacks.
And they utilize it well in the fight as well. The whole turtle being able to withdraw their limbs thing. They make a extended use of that when Kotaro is fighting him as Black, and I think that's very cool.
It is very good, yeah.
He's got quality guipas. He's got good they read very obviously as turtle limbs.
Yeah, this is the most turtle a turtle has gotten, but affectionate. I know I've said a few times oh, I don't know how I feel about some of these designs. They're just this, but make it a humanoid suit, which I sometimes felt was a little boring, but it's hard not to at least appreciate the craftsmanship, especially in cases like this.
No, for sure. Speaking of this but make it a guy, our villain for episode 16, the Earwig Man.
Ugh.
Shit, dog, he sure is.
He sure is, and I feel okay looking at him until I see his butt, and I'm like, that looks like a thing I always thought would crawl into my brain.
Bro do have that dumpy.
That dumpy strikes fear into my heart.
Was that a common thing? Where did that come from?
I think it's because they're called earwigs, so people just came to their own conclusion about that. I don't know, that's what I did.
Okay.
How about you?
I also did that. I was like, they're going to eat my brain.
Yeah, it's gonna crawl in your ear while you're sleeping, and it's gonna poke and nibble at your brain.
Yeah.
And you won't be able to get it out.
Yeah. And it's gonna puppet me. So I was just curious if that was if someone told us this?
Who's spreading the earwig propaganda?
Well, probably Earwig Man.
I'm so glad he was defeated.
Yeah, thank God Kotaro dealt with him. And then finally, our episode 17 villain, everyone's favorite Pokemon, Drowsy.
Drowsy, but dark and fucked up.
Yeah. I think it doesn't look so bad on Hypno because he's more cartoony, but the way this tapir is so elongated feels so wrong. His waist is thin, his legs are long.
Bro's big stepping.
Yeah. Voguing into your nightmares.
Please stop.
This man's torso looks way too long. And it's just like, this is what dysphoria feels like.
Ooh. I hate that.
That sucks, actually.
Oh no. The worst nightmare of all.
I'm also mad about this monster. I'll loop it back into something with episode 13. In really all of these episodes, you can see such fantastic vibes within these suits. And it took me 13 episodes, but I realized this show is just vibes. It is not about plot. It's not about characters. It's not about good writing or effects. It's just about vibes. And so everything else can fall to the wayside as long as there's vibes.
The very episodic nature of Black, it doesn't bother me as much as it was starting to in Ichigo. Perhaps it's because, it's much shorter. And they do abandon the premise. The search for Nobuhiko is brought up fairly often. Gorgon trying to do their Shadow Moon and their Creation King and all that. It's not forgotten, it's just not important. So it like how Kuga kind of felt like this is, realizing kind of the promise of the first 3 episodes of Ichigo. With Black, it kind of feels like this is a refinement and a building off of what Ichigo actually was.
If you look at the comparisons of Ichigo and Black in these suits side by side, you can see exactly what they were going for, with the exact vibes. I understand why this show exists. They wanted to refine this and make it more of a sensation than a overall story, so to speak, which ironically makes this the hardest one to do a podcast about, but
A little bit.
That's part of the fun.
We're doing it for the people.
For the people.
Out of all of the series that we've watched thus far, no matter what we say about this, it will only be half of what we could ever say, because there's something, even if it's absolutely pointless, there is just a mood that is set within actually watching the show. And that is all of it.
It's actually kind of. I was thinking about this as I was trying to write my notes for another episode, because I was watching the episodes before the recording. There was a part of my brain that was like, hey, I've written down some things, but I haven't written down a ton. I should maybe try to write down some more. But in the back of my mind, I was like, truly, what more is there to say? And I don't mean that in a negative way in any way, shape, or form. But you hit the nail right on the head. It is so incredibly vibes based that it's like, what do you want me to say? I cannot possibly convey to you in words the feelings that I am feeling and what I am experiencing by watching this show. There's no way to write it down in a way that is, I could read this or someone could say this to me and I'd get it. You kind of just have to go watch the show yourself, and then you'll probably come back and you'll start to say a thing and I'll be like, because we'll be on the same wavelength because we've experienced the same vibes. But vibes are not the easiest thing to transfer, especially by the medium of text.
Yeah, and again, this is in no way actually a criticism. It's just, it's very interesting to kind of see this fall into a rhythm of, this is easily where the series is the strongest, is where they bring up these ideas and they allude to concepts that are so much more vast than what they could ever do on screen or in their runtime. So your brain just kind of goes everywhere, and it's fantastic.
Okay, so one thing I gotta talk about Crabman. So episode starts with a a new father and mother taking their semi-newborn baby out of the hospital. Crabman comes in, bubbles the dad, and just chucks that baby like a football.
Yes.
Yeets that baby.
And Kataro sprints in for the reception. Touchdown, Kamen Rider. But it kind of threw me that, like, immediately they're just trying to murder this actual baby.
Right?
It's so funny. I couldn't help but wonder, and I guess spoiler alert, I didn't actually count it, but I couldn't help but think, Kotaro was not present for all of these other incidents wherein these mothers were abducted.
Oh.
How many babies were just thrown into the pavement?
Oh no!
So many.
These poor babies.
How many babies were spiked like a football celebration in the 90s?
He didn't just, like, gently toss the baby aside.
Nah, he
like,
chucked it.
yeah, like 30 feet in the air. That baby flew. That poor thing.
Oh,
God,
man.
yeah.
Which...
Michael Basketball Jordan would be so proud.
Connie Bubbler has earned so many cheeseburgers today.
Oh, man. I love this scene because I'm just talking about, vibes where it's the strongest. And this, again, really, really shows that, because if you look at it of what's actually happening on screen when it's not firing on all cylinders, what you have is a couple we don't know the name of comes home, their baby gets thrown, the dad gets boiled with acid by a crab man, and then the mother is like, I'm going to run up and hug my husband who is burning with acid. Also, the baby is in my hands still. And then the baby gets stolen. It's just, it's so, it's just a lot to happen in the first, 3 minutes.
They're horror movie actors, for sure.
Would you still hold, what would you do with your baby in this situation?
I don't know.
Would you put them down? Would you run?
Yeah, either put them down and put up my dukes, or run. You gotta decide whether you're going to try to save your husband or leave with your baby.
I'm so glad I don't have to make this decision, because theoretically in this situation I'm the husband. My face hurt. I'm curious, am I the only one who questioned Golgum's willingness to go through with this whack-ass plan?
I thought it was really funny
Yes,
that their
man.
monster babies need nurturing, tender hands to raise them.
But also, they can't be any nurturing, tender hands. They have to be explicitly the nurturing, tender hands of women who have just given birth.
They need milk? Looks at the eggs, wait.
Yeah, that's what I assumed. It's they need wet nurses. It's like, no. These new mothers nurture these eggs by, gently rubbing them and chanting.
It's literally the Chow Garden from Sonic Adventure 2. They kidnapped a bunch of newborn moms to go up to their chows and go, Yosh.
What if they just wanted to choose mothers from... Well, actually, sorry, there's a part of me that initially thought, oh, it's just silly cartoony devastation. You're gonna hurt the most amount of people possible by taking a mother away from a family when she's just given birth. But a sudden part of me just thought, well, actually, these mothers are probably super easy to track down. You just follow them home from the hospital.
That's why they needed the ambulance.
Our ambulance scheme already failed, but we have all these ambulances.
But listen, we have these ambulances. We had to steal these from somewhere.
These are going on the tax write-off. I swear to God, one way or another, we have to use them for something.
I would love to see Golgum's taxes at the end of the fiscal.
Those are the most insane taxes I can imagine, I'm sure.
Do you think, can they write off every fucking kaijin that dies?
I hope so.
Pulling a Zaslav. It's like, well, this monster might kill Kamen Rider, but it's looking a little iffy. We'll just feed it into the wood chipper ourselves.
No, yeah, Kamen Rider totally killed him. No, there's no way for you to check. He exploded. Yeah, they all do. Yeah, it's a shame.
It's a feature, but,
My favorite game for the Super Nintendo, Golgum Commits Tax Fraud.
Speaking of silly features, I am obsessed with the way that Kotaro fell for like a classic gag with the runaway stroller.
The crab in the baby basket.
Oh my god. He's such a sweet rube.
He's such a dork.
How many of y'all have seen the movie Speed with Keanu Reeves?
I've not
I have
seen it,
not.
but I've heard of it.
Yeah.
There's a bit in that movie where, you know, a stroller gets pushed out in front of the bus. They're unable to avoid hitting it, and it turns out it's just full of cans that somebody was collecting to return for the deposit. And Keanu goes, "Cans! It was only cans!" And it just, crabs! It's only crabs!
I would like to give a special shout out to the full-on front flip roll that Kotaro does to get in front of this basket so he can stop it.
Incredible.
What are you doing?
It's so fun.
Bro really thinks he's the last action hero. Because he is.
So yeah, Gorgum, you know, is tricking Kotaro, but the kidnapped mother from the intro has an older son who's hot on the trail, and while Kotaro is fighting with the crab, you know, the crab turns out like gets around via underground tunnel that the child just the way it's edited is like child is
editing was
approaching
so
the
good.
tunnel and then smash cut just tumbling down. It killed
Just hitting
me.
every side on his way down and screaming. The poor kid.
I want to see an edit where we just extend the child falling down the tunnel to a full minute.
I made a note for that. That reads, Taichi bravely dives headfirst into hell, dying on the way down.
True.
What a kid.
What a kid. Also, shout out to Taichi for reigniting another one of our great Ichigo legacies, that of the Child Rider. Bro got on his bike and was like, I'm gonna find my mom. I'm gonna fight a crab monster.
We miss you, Goro. We miss you so much.
We miss you, Goro. I do appreciate this child being able to just like follow the stranger and be like, hey, I definitely watched you at least start fighting a crab man. Save my mom.
Please.
Also, poor kid. He was like, oh, it's my fault. My mom got kidnapped because I was bad. Those aren't related. Please, Child Rider, don't be too hard on yourself.
Ataru's cyborg strength is not so freakish that he can't comfort a child.
Amazingly. Good job, Kotaro. Especially because this child is going to need it because he gets a concussion when he gets to the end of that tunnel. My man gets hit with a bonk clonk and he is out like a light.
Crabman kicks Kataro's ass pretty hard. He's too tough with the shell to be punched.
I do, real quick, I just want to give a shout out to, because we watch Kotaro get his ass kicked while we are also watching Taichi get his ass kicked by a tunnel. And so they, like, intersplice, like, the editing of those things. So, like, there's an edit where you, like, watch Kotaro, like, get punched and he, like, tumbles over. And then it cuts to Taichi going down the tunnel. And then, like, you see him, like, slam into the part of the tunnel and it you know, cuts to Kotaro, like, slamming into the ground. It was cool. It was fun editing for that little bit.
So Kotaro is forced to summon the new friend, Road Sector.
What are your thoughts on Road Sector, Pio?
What are your thoughts on Road Sector?
Well, I did note that this episode, Road Sector gets added to the opening. I think its attack guard form, whatever, is a little silly looking.
Attack shield? Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a cool robot bike that seems to be intelligent. I was a little worried that Battle Hopper was going to get totally sidelined, but luckily that turns out to not be the case. They give Battle Hopper and Road Sector fairly distinct roles. Battle Hopper gets to still do stuff.
We will never abandon Battle Hopper. He's our friend.
Yeah, Battle Hopper is a character in this show.
Exactly.
He's our best friend.
He's our best friend.
Yeah, we were all also concerned that Battle Hopper was going to be sidelined after just suddenly putting in another bike. Thankfully, that doesn't seem to be the case as we move forward. Like here in this very episode, Kotaro like rides Road Sector back into his, I don't know, base where he keeps the bikes, and he's like, Battle Hopper, help me, comfort me, I just got my ass beat.
Yeah, I wrote down this location as Science Warehouse because he's got his bikes there. It's this dingy, unused warehouse, and he's got a table with a microscope on it and like some cones.
And nothing else.
Bro, really setting up the lab.
Yeah, he's no Takeshi Hongo. I love that for him, though.
It's so cute to watch him pretend.
Yeah, speaking of which, I love him getting the sample of the crab mucus, putting it on the petri dish, and you think, oh, he's gonna analyze it under the microscope, and he just sets it on fire.
He's pretend sciencing.
What a genius. I love him. I was so excited, though, because I knew this would lead to setting the crab on fire, and I was just really excited for that.
That's so how can you not be excited for setting a big crab on fire?
My note for it reads in all caps, yes, burn him.
Do it. Burn him.
Do it.
Oh, he does also examine it under the microscope and see that it's got amoebas in it that indicate polluted water.
Which I did appreciate that bit. I had my note in my notes about it. I appreciated that he was like, all right, cool, well, I know where to find them, but it doesn't really matter because I can't kill them yet. So maybe let's solve that problem.
He has a musical montage of all the kaijin he's previously killed, which eats up a good chunk of time. Yeah, he thinks about all these, and the only thing that's going to get you tough enough to beat up a crab is going to the quarry and punching rocks.
Yeah,
Ooh,
the time-honored tradition.
Our first one, too.
Very quickly, I want to sojourn just briefly back to the end of the first Kenny Bubbler fight, because I would be remiss if I did not point out that the first episode after Road Sector gets introduced, when Kamen Rider calls for Road Sector, Kenny Bubbler reacts. He's like, oh shit, Road Sector? Oh no! They were selling that toy.
Listen, everybody knows the world's fastest, strongest bike, Road Sector.
And now you can get your fastest, strongest bike with Road Sector, with the Kamen Rider Road Sector playset. Now it's Toys R Us.
Like, the fact that Battle Hopper is still in the show makes me realize, oh yeah, this was really just to sell another toy.
Yep.
Battle Hopper is our best friend. He will never go away.
Yeah, Battle Hopper is our best friend, and Road Sector is our cool new toy that we wanted to sell.
Well, it does speak to, the recurring kind of, it was a Shocker thing and continues to be a Gorgon thing of, we love to make scientists build things.
True.
Or scientists will build something and Gorgon wants it.
Their efforts to modernize are admirable, at least.
Mm-hmm. I'm putting at least a little bit of thought into the planning. I say for exactly this episode, because that goes right out of the window in episode 14.
Similarly to, well, actually, I shouldn't say similarly, branching off of something Pio said earlier, I am also not sure how intelligent Road Sector is. It, follows commands, but I don't think we've seen any instance of it having, thoughts or feelings. I'm not sure.
Maybe I'm just projecting, because its front kind of looks like a face to me.
No, because we definitely see in some later episodes as well, it does some, self-driving. So I think it is, smart in that way, and, one of those cars that can, parallel park itself, or, a Tesla or whatever. It can probably do simple commands, but, theoretically, Battle Hopper could talk to you.
It's less of a case of, which is better and which is more important, but, I'm not going to put a vehicle over a friend, which feels bad because they're both really cool. It's just one of them definitely has feelings.
Yeah, it's just one of them loves me, and the other is Road Sector.
It's like, those robot puppy toys.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like having a golden retriever and then being like, sorry golden retriever, I'm playing with my new pet, my new friend.
Yeah.
It's just
I'm playing with Thouser.
Thouser has feelings, you shut up.
You know, Thouser does have feelings.
Thouser does have feelings, and I love him.
My Tamagotchi.
Oh,
How many kids do you think did full on neglect their actual pets for their Tamagotchi?
probably an unfortunate amount.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am lucky in that I don't think I have. Did I ever have Yeah, I don't think I ever actually had the Tamagotchi with which to neglect my pet. But I also didn't have a pet with which to neglect for a long time either. So I was safe on both fronts.
Probably for the best, maybe a little bit.
Probably, yeah.
Those Tamagotchis will traumatize you when you're too young.
Yeah, luckily that did not happen.
Not ready for parenthood.
Hey, here's the funny joke that they never warn you about. You never are. I watched the parents of fucking 4 children. Like, you get a little bit better, but you're never truly prepared for it.
Suppose every child is different.
Fucked up that, like, there are differences when you're raising a full-ass human.
We should all come in, like, a default model, I think.
Maybe Gorgom has a point, you know? Maybe humans are just not worth it.
You know, yeah. I for one, welcome our new MF Doom overlords. Anyway, we should rescue these moms.
Oh, yeah.
Well, before that, we got to perfect the Rider Punch. And the only thing that's going to inspire you to perfect your Rider Punch to make it capable of killing a crab is a puppy being in danger.
It's a puppy! What is this puppy doing?
I quite literally, my notes do in fact say what the dog doing.
Kamen Rider's in the quarry, punching rocks. Then the camera cuts, zooms out. There's a puppy teetering on the edge of a cliff.
The most pathetic little can barely walk baby
He's
puppy
just a little baby.
is on the brink of death. This poor thing.
It falls off the cliff and flies through the air. There's a boulder going on a collision course with this puppy.
Oh, the drama.
My notes read, "Where did you come from? Are you okay? Like in real life?"
Yeah, it's just some dog that was there.
I hope it was a model, but they do just have like a dog going through the air over the camera, and I'm like, what? How
They just tossed him.
are they okay?
Yeah,
Is he
that's
okay?
my thought is definitely that shot was done much lower and closer to the ground than it looks like it was.
Yeah, but you shouldn't toss puppies.
It is the 80s. They didn't decide on that yet.
That's why I am asking, are you okay?
Also, I feel like you can toss little a puppy as a treat.
No.
It is definitely a real dog in those shots, though. It is wiggling. It's wagging its tail.
Oh no. Oh, I mean, okay.
He's just a stupid little baby.
All right.
It's yeah. This is you got to treat the animal actors just like the child actors. If they're corpsing on the camera, that means everything's okay. Listen, we had some child acting moments in a later episode where I saw our little child actor was very clearly having a wonderful time, and I said, "Good, excellent, delightful." Even that is much more the preferred outcome is that you do a bad job at acting because you look like you're having fun, than that you do a good job at acting, and I am concerned for your safety.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Stanley Kubrick, take notes.
God.
The secret to the powerful Rider Punch is to touch your knees.
Yeah, listen, you got to do the knee slap uppercut, baby. Andrew Everett, eat your heart out. You thought a toe touch moonsault was hot? Nah, we're doing knee touch uppercuts now. Except actually, we aren't when we get to the real County Bubbler fight. Because it's more like a frog splash in that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I was disappointed about that. Because I thought, for 2 reasons. One, he was like, I need to go to the quarry and come up with a new finisher. And the new finisher he came up with was the old finisher, but first he slaps his knees. So that's cool. But the other thing too was I would have at least given them the benefit of the doubt if they did have to commit to like, yeah, no, the new Rider Punch is an uppercut. Like the cool puzzle Kotaro has to do every fight now is how do I get my bad guy in the air so I can knee slap uppercut him to death. But no, you can just kind of frog splash at him too. It's whatever.
I like how they at least have a new move. Is nice.
I don't know. It's one of those things I can't help but compare to Ichigo, because at least Ichigo would have actually come up with a new move.
Yeah.
I mean, if I recall correctly, that's when we did this exact same plot point, because you'll recall we did this exact same plot point with Ichigo. That's when we came up with the double foot rider kick. I believe I think it was called like the Thunder Rider kick or whatever. Like, the point is something new came of it at the very least.
Yeah.
Like, not to hate on Kotaro too much, but truly it is just the same thing he was already doing.
I think the real power, though, is from that dog. Because right before podcast started recording, I mentioned that I have a lot of opinions on this dog.
Okay, tell us your insane theory that you have about this dog.
This dog is supposed to, at least, like, outside of the narrative, supposed to represent the dogs we saw in Kamen Rider Ichigo.
Good God.
And my thought on this is that I believe it was something along the lines of, like, the studio filming or the director's filming were like, no, he needs to hug these dogs. That's, like, heroes should hug dogs. We shouldn't listen to people who say they shouldn't. And so they use that as an anchoring point a little bit within the series. And my thought is that this, with Kamen Rider Black, is reminiscent of that. And it's saying that, yes, heroes do save animals, they do hug puppies, and they are stronger for it.
So true.
That's where
That's
my
your game
brain
theory?
is. Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of saving babies, Kotaro burned all the babies.
He did set all of those babies on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did count all of those as kills.
Good.
Yeah, I love... so, yeah, Taichi finds his mom, and then tries to get her out. Crabman menaces them. That's when Kotaro shows up and defeats the Crabman, sets him on fire. And then we go back to the crash as Kotaro sprints in with a burning 2x4. It very much reminds me of The Simpsons. Hey, Bart, you want to see my chainsaw? This bug freaks comes at you with a torch.
I do like that the people are sufficiently scared, too, that when a weird robot bugman runs at them with a flaming stick, I would also recoil in fear and terror.
Yeah, very fair, especially given, like, the kind of people who have been harassing you and attacking you this past, I don't know, couple days.
Yeah, he does kind of just look like he works for Golgum.
He was made by Golgum, so...
He was made by Golgum.
The tag's right there on the back.
Yeah, please don't notice this tag on my butt that says made by Golgum. Made in Gorgum.
Yeah. Do we have any other thoughts about episode 13? Or...
I think that's all there is really to say about episode 13. And with that, I think we should hop on over to episode 14, or as I like to call it, the episode without a plot. And the reason I call it that is not, like, the episode actually does have a plot, but it was the first thing I commented on when watching the episode. I very much so appreciate that the initial plan for this episode was not a plan. They were just like, listen, get Mastodon Man out of here. We need to fucking kill this dude.
Yeah.
We need him dead so fucking bad. Just kill him. Just get him. Fuck a plan. Just get him.
Look, Mammoth Man has freezing breath, and Ryder can't kick if frozen, so Mammoth Man, get to it.
It's so true. I think this is also where we start getting the pop-ups of the, like, monster names as they appear on screen.
That sounds
I
right,
think.
but I couldn't tell ya.
Which is cool, because that does continue from here on out, which is a fun little visual that we'll have consistently from here on.
I love title cards.
Yeah.
I've loved them ever since I played Ocarina of Time.
Yeah,
True.
it's exactly this. It's that bold white
God, you're right.
font.
Yeah.
It's exactly that.
We gotta... I gotta see about getting an edit done of a Golem monster showing up and it playing that fucking the Ocarina of Time like intro to a boss theme. You know, the
Yeah, that would be pretty good.
Alright, on it.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service. Is anybody else like obsessed with this sushi chef?
Yes.
He's the best. This dude fucking
rules.
rules.
This guy, Tasuke Kamakura, his name is.
And a born
he
and
is.
raised baby.
I am devastated that he is not a recurring character and he's just a one-off character for this episode. He is a sushi chef, as you heard from the title. The tuna disappear because they take all the tuna to extract taurine from it because they can't make their stupid evil fruit anymore to feed their monsters. I don't know.
That actually doesn't have anything to do with it. Is I think the funny thing.
Oh wait, they said it was better than it and it strengthened them.
Yeah, Kuramatsu was like, hey, I came up with a formula that strengthens Gorgon monsters using taurine, and fucking Mastodon man drank it, and he was like, wow, I'm full of Jurassic power, or however that water commercial with the dinosaurs goes. You know which one I'm talking about. Oh, I think it's on full of volcanic power.
God. Well, they know the sushi chef because the crew, Kotaro and his two, can I call him his two sisters? Might as well be.
True.
Anyway, they've been babysitting his kid. He comes by and he brings them sushi as thanks, and he's like, oh my god, there's no tuna. And when he's out shopping for tuna and he catches wind of what's going on about all the tuna being like stolen when he's trying to get some from market, he's like, you know what? I'm gonna catch the thief myself. And he totally tries. He stakes out for whoever the thief is, and he encounters the mammoth monster, and he legitimately tries to fight it.
This guy with his Air Force jacket.
Yeah, his U.S. Air Force jacket.
I loved hearing him talk about how he's Edo born and raised in his
that's
U.S.
his whole
Air
thing.
Force jacket.
Yeah.
Bro, looking like my fucking dad.
I love this guy. God. He took a few hits, too.
So, Mammoth Monster, the episode starts off, before we get sidetracked by taurine and other dubious energy drinks, with Mammoth Monster launching an ambush. I love that this giant brute strength monster is also stealthy. It tries to get the jump on Kotaro.
Listen, he's the full package. That's why when you want someone dead, you call Mammoth Man, baby.
Yeah, you might think that, but this thing is the biggest, at least at the start of the episode, absolute jobber of all time. He gets his ass beat 6 ways from Sunday, and when he gets rider chopped, half his skin falls off. It's insane. Just dedicating to that effect really makes the Mammoth Monster suit for me. It's like crazy.
The visual of the half annihilated Mammoth Man is insanely good. I didn't notice it at first, but there's a scene later on where he's like on a workbench getting fed Kuromatsu's special formula, Mike's special stuff to heal him, and that's when I noticed. I was like, oh, okay, I did see that right earlier. Kamen Rider fucked his shit right up proper, and it's a hell of a visual.
Yeah, it very much calls to mind, probably what they were thinking of too. The mammoths they find in the permafrost that are all mummified, all jacked up looking.
Yeah, that's just, once again, more just absolutely astounding effect works from this show.
I understand more and more why Kamen Rider Shin was like that.
So true.
Because really, that movie is just vibes too. And it's not always great, unfortunately, with its 88-minute runtime and 10 of them being in a hallway, but damn if this wasn't the progenitor of it.
I'm sorry, but I'm not going to grok that complaint from you of all people. The David Lynch fan does not get to complain about 10 minutes being spent in the hallway.
Okay, the reason why I complain is because it's not vibe-based hallway enjoyment.
Alright.
It's simply just them running, but also you're right. You should call me out on that.
I will, though. Yeah, 100%. David Lynch wishes he could come up with the rotating baby.
I mean...
He tried to. It's called Eraserhead. It's close. Not the same.
I'm
sure it evokes the same feeling in people who look at it, though.
That and
you look at the Eraserhead baby and you look at the rotating baby from Shin Kamen Rider, and either way you just go, ugh.
Was there a baby in David Lynch's Dune? I can't remember. I'm gonna assume there probably wasn't, but
I feel like if there was a baby in Dune, we'd have remembered. Because it's vaguely relevant. Go watch David Lynch's Dune. I've heard okayish reviews about the new Dune, but go watch David Lynch's one. It's got Patrick Stewart in it. I don't feel like I need to say anything more.
like I think I can't remember the director's name of the new one. If you want a great film directed by him, and also the same person who did Blade Runner 2049, I've heard fantastic things about Dune Part 2. If you want young Patrick Stewart and Kyle MacLachlan fighting on top of a worm, watch David Lynch's one.
Yeah, I mean, that's a no-brainer any day of the week.
That aside, I can understand why Kamen Rider Shin went in that direction.
That also aside, there's truly not too much else to talk about for this episode.
There's a seaside funeral musical.
Yeah, we sing the end theme. The end theme is canon to the show, but we bitched out on the weirdest part lyrically, and I'm sad about that. You should have forced those girls to sing long, long ago 20th century, and you didn't, and I am annoyed about that, and I am going to say something. I would like to speak with your manager.
So the sushi chef is in the hospital. So his son needs to go. Every year on the anniversary of his mother's death, he goes to the ocean and throws some flowers into the sea. And the gals take him this time, and they reminisce about Nobuhiko. And I wrote down that I was glad that the narrative remembers Nobuhiko.
Say what you will about, whether we are advancing any plot or anything, but the narrative has done a very good job of remembering Nobuhiko.
I can kind of vibe with the way they treat the narrative. It's very relatable in the sense of, I know, listen, I know, I just haven't, I know, I need to,
Yeah, very, very doing a mandatory side quest in an RPG kind of energy. You're listening to your fairy helper or fucking Omachow or whatever talk to you about how we have to go save Princess What's Her Name. Like, I know, but I need to do this.
I'm sorry, I swear I haven't forgotten.
I promise I haven't forgotten, but there are other things that need attending.
That whole thing with the narrative is kind of, like, I also really like that, because it's like, stuff just kind of gets in the way of other important stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's yeah. And then it's genuinely like 2 or 3 minutes where they sing this a cappella version of the opening theme. And it, again, just goes to show they remember that there is a plot. They allude to it. They paint these kind of bigger images and emotions that they'll never probably fully realize, but it kind of works.
Yeah. I think the important thing is that there is the acknowledgement, because Ichigo definitely would have been very bad about acknowledging these emotions. Hack, wheeze, bleeding from my mouth, Ruriko. So yeah, the acknowledgement definitely does work in the show's favor, and it's certainly a lot better than nothing.
Yeah, Mammoth Monster is going crazy for that taurine. Kuromatsu can't deal with his bullshit. And then Kataro shows up and destroys all that shit.
And also the Mammoth Monster, because it doesn't matter how turnt you get on Monster Energy, Kataro will find you and he will Rider Punch you.
With his power stripes, wherever that came from, he suddenly decided he knew how to use.
Power stripes that were apparently a thing the whole time. My note for that section literally says, "Those do something?" ? I thought they were just accents.
It's just cool.
Okay, I'm rewatching the fight. There's one bit where they just chuck the Mammoth Monster suit off a cliff. And God, absolute huge jobber Mammoth Monster.
He really was. For as much steroids that he was taking, not unlike Valvolinus, he was still a massive jobber.
Oh, poor guy. He deserved it, though.
Yeah, for 100%. This, I will say, the end of the episode is the part I did not quite understand. just specifically because, Mammoth Man dies because he sucks and he's a jobber. And then the Gorgon priests are like, man, fuck you, Kurimatsu. Your plan didn't work. You suck. This is bullshit. But, like, his plan just kind of objectively did work, though. Like, he was like, I came up with a formula that strengthens the monsters with taurine. And, like, it did do that.
It didn't do it enough.
I guess, but he was also still testing it. Was, like, very explicitly part of the thing. That's why he needs so much goddamn tuna.
We don't have time for trial runs.
Well, Gorgon, maybe extend your clock a bit, motherfuckers. Like, damn.
These Gorgon is so Nazi coded, so it really makes sense that they just have a bunch of lofty goals, and then when like it doesn't work the first time, they're just like, screw it.
They will not hesitate to absolutely abandon like any plan that almost works. It's like, well, you're gonna try that again with some changes? No, we're gonna do something completely different.
The brain geniuses.
6 billion IQ.
They have not heard of the scientific process.
They really haven't.
They reject it.
Skipping ahead a bit, episode 16, there was a bit where they're like, humankind went off the rails the instant they started making stone tools. So,
They really did.
Yes!
They full on were like, and these motherfuckers are making ceramics now, and they think they're hot shit. Fuck humans. Like, are you talking about pots, my man? Hello? What are we doing?
I guess if they're 30,000 years old, they've seen a lot, but I think stone tools is way too ancient for them to be commenting on.
They missed the boat by a lot. They missed the
Checks
boat by
clock.
a whole, yeah.
A couple million years.
Yeah, full on the Harvey Birdman me. Yeah, they missed the boat by, looks at calendar, 2004.
I'd love to see Professor Kuromatsu get scolded for his failures, though. It's fun. And I miss this sushi stuff already.
True.
Unironically, somehow my favorite character in Black thus far.
some good side characters.
Yeah, really good.
Black has had some excellent side characters.
But yeah, Mammoth Monster defeated, Sushi Chef heals up and gives the crew some good tuna.
And grills the absolute shit out of Kotaro about who killed that mammoth. Apparently he really wanted round 2.
Got a score to settle with him, he said. Who took out that monster, huh?
Really, my man Kotaro was faced with a problem he couldn't punch and immediately put his foot in his mouth.
I think it's so funny seeing this, as the exact polar opposite, the perfect foil to our experiences with Hongo, who always left immediately after everything, and now I'm starting to think that's correct. Oh, I didn't hear anything about that. What are you talking? Oh.
Nah, I was at Denny's the whole time.
Yeah, grand slamming it.
A crab monster? That's wild. Anyway, I gotta go back to school. I got a senior thesis I gotta work on. I'll talk to y'all later. They're none the wiser.
It's somehow they weren't, is the thing.
It's so funny.
It's crazy.
It worked, so like, what, are you gonna tell him he's wrong?
I guess I don't have a 600 IQ, so maybe not, but I will be mad about it.
That's so fair.
Jane Brenius Takeshi Hongo for a reason. Even Hayato at least had the wherewithal to just not stick around.
Yeah, but...
And also, you probably had a better excuse.
He just doesn't want to hang out with all the women.
Yeah, also, to be fair, that was just a big misogynist.
Yeah.
That's probably not fair to Hayato in the slightest. I'm sorry, Hayato. I didn't mean that shit.
He might not be a misogynist, but he certainly doesn't like being around or talking with women, does he?
Yeah, not really. Although, given the women that he has to be around and talk with, there's a small part of me that doesn't blame him. If I'm being quite honest, I think having to deal with Mari's whole bit for like 2 straight days would get kind of grating.
Yeah, 2 straight days, girl, take a hint.
Yeah, it's true. Hey, anyway, speaking of taking hints, we should go to school and talk about episode 15, which starts off with everyone's favorite Ronaldinho Soccer. Old Kotaro's coaching the Little League now. You'll love to see it.
On the muddiest field you've ever seen in your life, these poor children. This is, one kid slips and he lands in the mud, the poor thing.
Is that normal? Like,
I mean, as normal
we
as...
don't live in Washington, I guess.
I was gonna say, yeah, like, if you're somewhere where it rains commonly, I would imagine.
But generally you would not want to be playing soccer in a field of mud with no grass or turf or anything.
I didn't clock it during the episode. I thought, I don't know, maybe I just thought the color grade was bad, but looking back at it, no, this field is entirely mud. And there's grass, like, around it.
It's horrible.
It was simply seeing too much use. They were pounding that turf. Got to get ready for game they have coming up that's plot relevant when one of the kids tries to duck out early because he has to go to Castlevania school.
Oh my god, yeah. I wrote Strike Through Dracula, Yubata Elementary School.
Yeah.
They had like the lightning flashing in the background and everything. With the organ.
See, I was going off the Assault on a Haunted School title. I was like, oh yeah, that school looks haunted as fuck.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, this you say what you will, but that school sure as shit was haunted.
It was an incredible school too. They influenced with the power of evil Gamera the children to unlock their innate sensibilities, which they did so when they realized that children are all evil. Look, we all know that children are evil. All children want to torture animals and hurt each other, and we just have to give them the right push.
We just gotta turn that dial up. Be like, hey, listen, what if instead of pulling the wings off of a fly, you pulled the wings off of, Kiko in class 3? And listen, I know what you're saying. She doesn't have wings, but she does have limbs. Listen, I'm sure if you're the kind of kid who's pulling wings off of flies, you're pulling legs off of them too. Same difference, right?
I don't know enough about this topic to comment.
Hey, neither do I.
Me neither. I was never a kid to pull wings off of flies.
I was never a kid to pull wings off of anything.
Pio, will you surprise us?
How many animals did you torture in your youth, Pio?
No, I was always raised to put bugs in cups and take them outside.
Pio's perfect yet again.
Yeah, once again, Pio proving he is constantly the best of us. Anyway.
Yeah. The effect of the turtle, like, emerging from the tank, like the monster form from the regular turtle, is really, really cool. They have this, like, fog effect that they put in the tank with these glowing red eyes. Or were they yellow? I can't remember.
Looking at the screenshot from the wiki, they're yellow.
Okay. It was very fun. Also, if I were a turtle of that size shoved into a tiny tank like that, I would also want to make everyone evil.
I would also become evil.
Yeah, I would also influence everyone to hurt each other.
So, I wasn't quite sure, what was going on with, because the little turtle and the monster are kind of on screen at the same time, but I think it's just metaphorical.
Yeah, I believe it's like a visual thing. Shinichi, I think he is.
Yes. Shinichi and Keisuke.
Is Keisuke the one who is going to the lessons, or is Shinichi the one who's going to the lessons?
I believe it's Shinichi who's going to the lessons, and Keisuke's our jock.
Yeah, so Keisuke, our jock, is trying to get his friend Shinichi back, and when he's looking in, he sees visions of evil turtle, along with Shinichi getting full on tortured, basically.
Yeah, having to play the punishment game.
Yeah, I love seeing punishment game on the fucking chalkboard.
Yeah, it's the classic Japanese school stand with these buckets of water, but plussed up a bit. Because you got to stand on a balance beam, and then surrounding the balance beam are tubs of boiling water. I assume.
Something nefarious.
And then everybody throws soccer balls and other balls.
Assaulting this child, yeah.
It's so stupid.
It's so funny though.
Funny.
Because they have to do something that looks both somewhat menacing and will not remotely actually hurt the child on screen. So you just kind of have to understand in your heart that this is a menacing scene.
Yeah, this is more dangerous than it looks, because it very intentionally doesn't look very dangerous.
The vats of acid beneath.
Yeah, they got so many colored lights. They got green lights, they got purple lights. They might have a blue light.
It's like a Christmas celebration up in there. That is, of course, until our Kamen Rider shows up, and then Keisuke's like, Kamen Rider, come quick. They're doing bad things to my friend. They're torturing Seiichi. Come look. And we go to the classroom in this one. It's just pretty bog standard, regular study group that you would have on a Saturday at a school. It's just it's pretty normal. Keisuke, I don't know what you're talking about. There's, people bullying Shinichi. Why would we do anything like that? Shinichi is our friend. Keisuke, you ought to come to study group. Maybe that would get rid of some of the misconceptions and the misgivings that you have about the study group. You should come to study group with us, Keisuke. Remember, kids, when you're doing something nefarious, the best way to protect yourself is to follow the 3 G's. Gaslight, gatekeep, Golgum. I truly lost it watching this entire classroom, and also for a little bit Kotaro just full on gaslight this kid about what he saw. just pure no, that I don't know what you're talking about. That 100% didn't happen, bud. You must be seeing things. Are you tired? You should maybe take a nap.
Poor
just
kid.
giving them the full once over, and then
It's so sad.
It is truly as sad as it is funny, and it's really funny. Luckily, then, Kotaro takes him outside, and he's like, hey, listen, I do actually believe you. I just needed to get you out of there. Tell me what you saw. And he was like, I saw a fucking turtle. And Kotaro's like, oh, shit, it's Gamera. Because he knows. Listen, you don't fuck around with Gamera. That's the friend to children, except not in this specific context.
Anti-Gamera.
Yeah. Gamera Black. Speaking of which, we should fight the Gamer Black. We should have a little combat with him. It's always good to have a fight with our Golden monster, don't you think?
Yeah. Pierre already mentioned the great articulation that this guy has, and how cool it is when he retracts his limbs into his body and Gamera's around. He doesn't have the jets, but that's fine.
It doesn't stop him from flying.
Yeah, he just goes. He just moves forward and up.
Kind of just makes him objectively better than Gamera when you think about it. Because he's mastered non-propulsed flight. Bro can just do that.
At will. That's pretty impressive.
I am sad. When I saw him retract all of the limbs and the head, I was really hoping he was going to start spinning like he was doing Bowser Up B. And unfortunately that did not happen. I was really hoping for the turtle spin attack.
We do get another Kotaro battle analysis continuation, and he's like, oh, I need to hit him in the eyes, and then he just punches him in the forehead really hard.
Yeah, he does.
That was really funny. And that'll do it, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. The winning maneuvers of this fight are he catches Gamera not blocking low and sweeps him. He punches him in he tries to do the head retract thing, and then Kotaro just punches into his head hole and punches him in the head. And then he unwisely retracts everything except his head and tries to, I guess, headbutt Kotaro, and he uses that to just kind of flip and toss him. And then, it's a rider punch, a rider kick, a rider skip, and a rider hop to a dubski for the boy.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about the part where he suplexes the turtle, and they kept the head empty, so it crunches really hard on the ground.
Yeah, full on fucking brain busters him.
But that's the final fight, and there's an important bit in between, the first fight where the turtle escapes when a night watchman approaches, and the second fight where we actually defeat the turtle. Kotaro goes to investigate the school, and this soccer ball rolls up to him unattended.
Oh my god.
And then inside the soccer ball is Kensuke saying, help me.
Yeah, we
Appreciate
have
this.
trapped him and we have forced him to come to the conclusion that ball truly is life.
And like the gals are there, and they also see the ball like projecting Kensuke at them. Keisuke, so what? It's very silly.
These episodes, specifically the episodes that we watched this time, some of the episodes we watched last time, and then the episodes that we're going to watch next time, really muddy the mixture on how much our girls actually know.
We know they know about Golgum at least.
Yeah, the only thing that is consistent is that they know about Golgum.
Yeah, they know about Golgum and Nobuhiko, and I find it fascinating that we're in this, like, perfect middle ground of, like, progression in writing these women characters, wherein they are very consistently present, and they have a lot more lines, and they have feelings about things, but they still have no agency whatsoever.
God,
we were so close. We almost got there.
I feel like maybe by the end of Mysterious, one of these episodes, I was really getting the feeling that Kyoko at least had put one and one together and gotten Kamen Rider Black is Kotaro.
That's in the next set, I believe.
Yeah, I believe that might be in the next set. The next set is where a lot of my frustrations with how much do they know really kind of come to a head. Because there start being some very explicit comments and actions that are taken that were like, wait a minute, I thought we had established this at this point.
We've established nothing. How
Yeah.
long did it take us to learn Katsumi's name? They still haven't said that she's Nobuhiko's girlfriend.
God, you're so right. She's been here for 15 episodes and we still don't know who the fuck she is.
You really just have to kind of assume.
Yeah, without context clues, I wouldn't have known who you were talking about. Like, it's Kyoko and the other girl to me. I didn't pick up her name.
Because I don't think they've said it more than a couple times.
Hell, if it
maybe?
hadn't been for the synopsis, I'd still be thinking that was his mom.
Fair.
I'd be like, why? I mean, I understand they had to move out for a bit, but why haven't the family moved back home yet?
Oh, goodness.
Good explanations, Kamen Rider.
Yeah. Any other thoughts about episode 15?
This is the stupidest episode.
Yeah, I think Nanagon has the right of it. For better or for worse, I'm gonna say for better. This is 100% the stupidest episode that we've watched so far.
Yeah, the evil school for children was a comment. They did it like what 3 times in Ichigo. And
3 or 4,
Way
yeah.
too many, oh my God.
We did evil school.
It's so happy to see it again, I suppose. And they did I feel like a fairly decent job with it. You know, they were just like, you know, cranking up their innate, you know, child cruelty rather than turning them into commandos.
Yeah, it was a new twist on an old classic, Coke Zero.
This episode was a lot. It hurt me a little bit. Just, like,
Episodes that deal psychic damage.
we didn't even get into the fact that, like, in the first fight where Turtle escapes because of a night watchman, the turtle escapes by going into a pool.
Well, he comes out of the pool as well. He just busts out of the pool and he's like, "What's up? I'm a fuck ass turtle."
He just likes to be in the pool.
Okay.
I mean, turtles like water.
I also think it's amusing that they decided in establishing this episode to comment on how, as part of, like, the lore of what's going on in this school, it's changed the, like, social, I don't know, like, hierarchy, I guess, the social dynamics of, like, the jocks and the nerds, and now the nerds are the cool kids and they bully the jocks.
Yeah, they banded together.
I just,
Yeah.
I don't know how to deal with this episode.
I think it was just a lot of fun for the kids to be in Kamen Rider.
I
Yeah.
bet you it was.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's such a good point.
I hope they had an excellent time.
Me too.
Let's see, Black was what, 87, 88? So it's been 12 years since the original. So Kamen Rider's been like established the entire lives of these child actors, basically, or close to it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so I'm sure they were very, very excited to be on Kamen Rider.
I'd be excited to be on Kamen Rider. I would want to be in this next episode.
Yeah.
All right. Is it time for
Yeah.
Friend from Across the Sea?
I hope so. I want to talk about Friend
Yeah.
from Across the Sea.
Listen, it's time for whatever the hell we want, but yeah, let's talk about Friend Crossing the Sea. Let's talk about Nihonjin Sniper.
Are we going to talk about him now, or are we, like, opening the episode?
He opens that. I forget if there's anything that happens directly before him. The first thing I remember is watching him try to murder someone.
Yeah. I thought it was gonna be like a Godzilla versus Biollante sort of deal.
I'm curious how everyone referred to this character in their notes. That's what I want to know. If you called this character anything aside from his name.
I'd say the two notes I've got about that refer to him are Extreme Cool Guy Deluxe,
Mhm.
which comes immediately after the note Hitman Shades. And later I refer to him as Extremely Pretty Assassin.
It's so fair.
Oh, he's so pretty.
I referred to him. I did not give him much in the way of like titles. So there's opening the episode with Nihonjin Sniper. I referred to him once as a hot guy, and then there was International Man of Mystery, and then spoiling things a little bit. My last note about him in the episode is, oh, I see, he's Artaki.
It was like, okay, yeah, like my third note. Oh wait, it's Taki too.
Hell yeah, man, I love Taki Tuesday.
Love Taki.
But for some reason, I didn't have it in my notes, but just in my brain, I'm like, this man is like, this is what I assume B would look like if he wasn't tired.
Damn. That's the nicest thing I've ever been told before. My hair's not so nice.
Like the photo of the actor for Nutaki on the wiki is
insanely handsome.
Yeah, something going on. And boy, like if you Google search for this guy, he's been around the spectrum of gender in many ways.
What a guy. My notes for him, when I called him outside of his name, I said that he had a lovely face, and then later I just called him Nobuhiko's cunty Interpol senpai.
Also accurate. Oh, he does music too. Of course he does music.
Of course he does music.
I thought I was getting some Gact vibes looking at this picture that Piovo posted.
It might be because they're probably like similarly aged and unaging.
He's like a Gact contemporary.
Oh yeah, here we get to where Golgum's like, oh my god, these humans with their newfangled ceramics, and now they got quartz. Crazy. These people are crazy. They think they're so special.
You're so special. Your fucking quartz, I'll show you.
I'm like, quartz is new? What? Where?
Golgum grandpa moments.
My god.
Yeah, Golgum is big mad that we have developed any form of technology.
So we open with our new assassin friend. At this time, we don't know that he's cool. Well, I mean, you take one look at this guy and you know he's cool.
Yeah, listen, he's cool as fuck. We just don't know that he's a good guy.
But he shoots at some guy and puts a bullet in his briefcase. Katara witnesses this and gives chase.
Kataro could watch you, like, under tip for a pizza and he'd give chase.
God. The assassin tears off in his sports car, and Kataro cuts him off. Guy swaggers out, rifle just kind of in hand, and then he flips a quarter and shoots the quarter in the air and is like, I didn't try and kill that guy. If I was trying to kill him, boom.
Yeah, truly, my man is just dripping charisma, and
Dripping.
confident. Yeah, well, he's just yeah, true. Well, I'm dripping a little bit.
God.
This man with his beautiful eyes and his upsettingly kissable lips.
He's so pretty.
He's so pretty.
He's so pretty.
It's-
I'm upset about how pretty he is.
You know what it is? He's that kind of pretty that makes you think, oh, they must have put makeup on this dude. But then you can look at him and tell he's not wearing any makeup.
He's wearing a tiny bit of eyeliner.
Yeah, like a little bit.
And like, I know it's a lot of lighting, but like, dang, your facial structure is good.
Damn, baby, your facial structure.
This is the kind of man who could easily scam any one of us.
Oh, for sure.
Like, he would sell us a timeshare in 10 minutes flat.
That would imply I have to talk to people, but I suppose if that's, you know, if the conversation was already going, then yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Listen, he will find a way to initiate the conversation with you. Don't you worry about that.
I think I'm okay with this.
This dude's got the moves. He's real smooth with it. I love trying to read back through my own notes to see what I might want to talk about for an episode. Because every now and again, I get to run over this massive roadblock I've put there for myself, where there's just a note that says MF Doom. That's the first time that dude shows up in an episode.
I've got a note, which is white guy spotted. As we learn what Golgum is up to, our earwig monster goes to check up on the current happenings that they've got. They've abducted a bunch of quartz scientists.
They do not abduct any quartz scientists. They break into a facility where quartz science is happening, and the quartz scientists shrimply stand and watch and go, huh.
I mean, what are you going to do if a 7-foot-tall bug just kind of, like, walks into your facility and says, hey, idiot, I'm in charge now, I have knives for hands.
Fucking
Would you not
run.
be like, oh...
I sound the alarm, I shit my pants. Something.
There's science to be done. I truly assume they're being threatened.
I mean, they don't look like it, especially because there is a much more explicit threatening of these scientists that happens after the crystal explodes, because it can't handle full power laser power. But for like the first 2 or 3 tests, they are really just like sitting there watching, being like, "Oh, I see."
Would you not at least like want to see if it works though? If you were being threatened, if someone said, "Hey, your life depends on how well this thing works. I need you to make this thing, and I need it to work. And if it doesn't work, I'll kill you." Would you not be watching that thing like a hawk?
I would, but again, it just like that implies a much more of a like mafia-esque dirty back deals sort of a situation, and much less of what this is, which is I was doing my business as usual, and then a giant bipedal earwig kicked the door down.
Would you not be curious about that either?
No! It's a giant bipedal earwig. It's gonna eat my brain, apparently. I'm fucking out of there.
I mean,
I don't know. Maybe they're different. I don't. All we're told is that they vanished as they were working on their quartz research in a chain of other disappearances and mysterious deaths regarding other people developing these advanced quartz technologies. I don't know. Maybe I don't know anything, but what I do know is that they failed and they're in trouble for it.
Which means we have to find out where the Ultra Quartz is so we can keep it from Gulgum, but it looks like we're not the only ones searching for it. Because look, our incredibly handsome man is back. And he's come to challenge our initial would-be assassinee to a game of pool for his life. And we're just going to kind of not react to that comment as the bystanders. Which also, speaking of our bystanders, one, interesting that they are all female. Not, like, I guess that makes sense because apparently this guy works at a women's university, but also just the fact that there are these 3 young girls who would, like, surround this one professor like this, I do find interesting.
There's a strong implication that these are his students.
Yeah, I understand that, but that's, I mean, if anything, that's almost the thing that I feel like makes it more weird. You'd think at least...
I figured it was kind of the intention, honestly.
I mean, yeah, I assume that was probably the intent, but, you know, it was a weird intent. I was like, why are these girls so about it with this dude?
I don't know, maybe he's super cool and smart. Maybe he's not like the other boys at school.
Maybe. The quartz professor?
I don't know.
Chase your
This
bliss,
is a bad
ladies.
look no matter what. No. He should say no.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, never mind. You're right. Ladies, no buenos. But yeah, the other thing is, so, we play a surprisingly competitive game of pool. Our quartz professor, he know how to shoot, but he don't know how to shoot good enough. And so our handsome man, whose name we still have not yet learned, will in fact win the life of our professor, is what he would say. But he can't take his life now, so instead he'll just take the Ultra Quartz. Dun dun dun. How do you know about the Ultra Quartz? Well, he introduces himself as a journalist in this bit. I don't know if there's ever actually a conversation about how he knows about the Ultra Quartz, but the point is he knows. And the other point is I think we get attacked by an earwig at this point.
Ah.
Oh yes, that's it. Yeah, you're right. And our boys team up together for just a moment to fight off this earwig, by which I mean, you know, our handsome man realizes that he does not want the smoke from this earwig in any way, shape, or form. So he kicks a log at him, and then Kotaro is like, "Hey, let me do this. I'm an exterminator." Wink. So Kotaro gets to exterminate in the way that he does, which is to say that he transforms. I am trying to think of, is there anything of particular interest that happens in Earwig Fight 1? I don't have any notes about it, which I feel like is telling.
I think our mystery guy seeing Kotaro transform is probably the only major thing I can think of. So he's in on it. Go into our next scene where Kotaro spots our mystery man doing a trick shot with a soccer ball. And he's like, "Oh my god, that's a new shot. Oh, my brother knew that. He was taught by some mysterious senpai who moved overseas, who graduated from the science department."
Kotaro mentions that he was also a soccer rival of Nobuhiko, and they were pretty neck and neck until one day Nobuhiko shows up with this crazy new kick, which is the kick that we watch our mystery man do. Our mystery man, who I think this is the part where we learn his name is Ryusuke Taki. He's like, yeah, Nobuhiko begged me to teach him how to do that shot, and you know, he was so earnest, I just had to do it. But yeah, so we know that his name is Ryusuke Taki. We know that he used to go to college with Nobuhiko, and then he went overseas, and he is a part of Interpol. This is very much so. This is my Doofenshmirtz of if I had a nickel for every time a Japanese piece of media that I was interacting with had a character that was explicitly from Interpol, I'd have 3 nickels.
You got this guy, Chun-Li. Must be a crazy office over there.
Yeah, Interpol must be pretty wild. But yeah, so Ryusuke is like, hey, listen, we are theoretically both after the same thing. Kotaro spills the beans to Taki about Golgum, and also kind of gives a brief overview of what's been going on with Nobuhiko. That, of course, being he has been rotating in the microwave. Bro's getting warmed up like a TV dinner. And so they decide to work together in order to try and get the Ultra Quartz and keep it from Golgum while also keeping the professor safe. They do this by having our professor, our Interpol man, Taki, dress up as the professor. He gets attacked, air quotes, by Earwig Monster. This allows them to track the earwig monster to like an underground base thing, where they are also holding the other scientists, which actually, now that I'm thinking about it, this is the same facility where we show earwig monster show up. I don't know, maybe they just didn't know about it. The show does a bad job explaining this shit.
When earwig monster shows up, it just like, it makes a very dramatic entrance. So maybe, even if it's supposed to be there, it just like kicks open the door and.
Yeah, that's what made me think that this was their lab and that like earwig monster was breaking in. But now that I'm thinking about, you're right, they apparently stay there, and like that's where they're being held, and that's where they get tracked to. So either like it is a Golgum lab, or it is like it's just the only lab that has the equipment for the experiment that they need, and Golgum was like, we're just gonna imprison you here.
So like, it is not immediately revealed that Taki has been disguised as the professor. There's a very Mission Impossible-esque, mask removal moment where the professor suddenly, he turns on the earwig, starts beating it with a pipe, and does a cool flip, and then dramatically removes the face and tie.
Because you need to know that this man is the coolest motherfucker to have ever existed.
Whips off the lab coat to reveal the motorcycle jacket and turtleneck.
Listen, what did I say? You need to know that this man is the coolest motherfucker to have ever existed.
He's so handsome.
So handsome.
So handsome.
But yeah, so he helps and gets everybody, all of the scientists out of the facility, while Kotaro does the thing that he is theoretically good at, which is, of course, murdering kaijins. I don't think there are too many other, like, once Kotaro gets a chance to transform, I don't believe there are too many other contributions by Taki. His main job is just kind of, keeps the scientists safe.
Yeah, despite saving the day, they as part of the ruse, they did put the Ultra Quartz in the machine, and it did seem to fuck some shit up. A lot of miniatures catching on fire and falling into holes.
I forget, was this the episode where they blew up a miniature building?
Yeah, there's like I guess it kind of looks like an oil refinery that gets torn apart and falls into a pit.
Yeah, I think that's what I was thinking of. It's Ultra Quartz is spooky. Like, it's no wonder it's Ultra.
Yeah, they were not kidding. That quartz do be Ultra.
Yeah, they were in line.
Realistically, I think for this entire episode, I was just thinking, this guy is not gonna come back, is he? He's like, this is it, right?
I mean, they really made it seem like he might come back. They had a handshake at the end of the episode that was so gay that my last note is now kiss.
That would be fun to see them come back for another episode and actually cooperate all the way through. My last note reads, "Damn, Nobuhiko, you didn't tell me you had a girlfriend and a boyfriend."
Yeah, true. Nobuhiko getting it. Which, I mean, I don't know, it just stands to reason. He's theoretically like a Kotaro that looks different. And Kotaro has many, many qualities that one would look for.
I'm gonna be so frustrated if this is the last time we see of him, because he's just like, remember, you aren't alone, and then the episode ends. It'd be so funny if that was it.
You're not alone, he says, leaving you alone forever.
True.
Is that it for episode 16?
I think that, I mean, truly, the thing about episode 16 is episode 16 pretends to be an episode, but it's not. It's just kind of a pedestal upon which we place this guy, and we spin him for a bit, and everyone looks and goes, ooh, ah.
It was a good time, though.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Would do again.
That's what I mean by this show is a vibe.
True.
We have talked for this episode maybe like 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Half of it was just, wow, this guy is pretty. And
He's so pretty.
So pretty.
Oh my god.
It's like,
It really can't be overstated.
you might be listening to this being say, like, oh, sure, I guess so. But if you watch it, you'd understand.
was struck the moment his face appeared on screen. I was like, oh,
Right?
Oh,
hello.
hi. Oh my god, hi.
Hi, do you come here often? Oh my god, you're so funny. I have, like, nothing to say about the next episode, and I'm sad about that.
Yeah, do you want to get into the fucking somehow most plot relevant and also exceedingly most nothing episode of this whole set, Tapir Man episode?
I am, like, so invested in the sibling drama, and I feel I have nothing to say about it, and I don't know what to do about this position.
There's not a fucking thing to say about this shit.
I guess we can say the premise, I suppose.
I got some things to say.
Oh, I'd love to know what you have to say.
Pio once again proving he's the best of all of us at it, gamer.
So it kicks off in the Gorgon abyss, where they're like, God damn, Nobuhiko, Shadow Moon's life energy is waning. We gotta get somebody else of his bloodline and just like siphon it off to spruce him up a bit. So their plan to track down Kyoko is through her dreams. And to do that, MF Doom takes Tapir Monster, to something overlooking the town, and he just starts like sucking up people's dreams. And Baram is like, nope, not that one, chuck it. And it just starts like destroying the dreams of people like callously.
It's so funny. I had to know, I was like, there has to be a more efficient way to do this shit.
They don't give a hoot.
Yeah, they don't care about efficiency here.
I would like your theoretical emperor is dying. I would like to think efficiency would be paramount in at least this context.
They don't believe in efficiency.
They really don't. They're Nazis.
Vibes only.
Yeah, you're so right about that.
Efficiency, that's human talk.
Yeah.
True.
What, do you like ceramics and quartz?
I love ceramics and quartz. Every morning
You
I wake
human.
up and I eat a bowl
so-
of quartz ceramics.
You're so human pilled. Disgusting.
I am people maxing. I'm so human built.
Anyway, I'm crying and screaming and throwing up about this silly dream of Kyoko's where she's reminiscing about when she and Oni-chan Nobuhiko were like out at this park and she trips and she eats dirt and she cries about it and he hands her a little flower.
And then she's all better because her Oni-chan is taking care of her.
I'm good.
True. You two, you two good? I know this is the kind of shit that hits you two especially. Y'all gonna survive?
Probably not, but it's
Alright.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love sibling drama so much, and like the scenes of her desperately like chasing the phantom dream of her brother really gets me in a way where I wish I had more to say about this episode.
Yeah, so fair.
Again, this is what I mean by it's just vibes, because like the sibling drama being chased through the dreams and like the taper is specifically like referencing I believe it's like the Baku, the mythological entity that goes and travels and eats dreams and stuff. And so that as the premise.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I know the animal is a tapir, but I never knew
the Baku's
what
a yokai,
Yeah.
I believe.
I think so.
But the Baku looks like a tapir.
a tapir. Yeah, I never known the name of the actual yokai. So every time I saw a tapir that ate people's dreams, I was just like, "Hey, look, it's Drowsy or Baguska from Yu-Gi-Oh."
You have tied the threads together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it's so cool that this is what the premise is of this sibling drama mixed with this Baku that's eating the dreams of people. And
the vibes are immaculate on this one, and
Talk about vibes.
oh, I have too much to say about these vibes. I'll let other people go if they have any to say at the moment.
What? Yeah, this episode is like such a. It's very much a well-oiled machine. Like everything proceeds kind of like exactly as you would think. The tapir starts messing with her dreams to try and get her to come, to the lake, Midori Lake. It's tormenting her that Nobuhiko is out there, and she's convinced she needs to go. So she ditches Kataro and heads to the lake and gets taken underground. Yeah, there's this bit where, she's like the Gorgom sages are all there and is like, he needs your help, but you have to willingly sacrifice your life. Are you gonna do it? And she's like,
Of course.
yeah, she gets right on that shit.
Oh my god. I'm so weak for it. I'm so weak for it. Oh, I wish she had any agency. I wish it felt like she had agency in this episode. Like, as much as I want to be like, I love her sacrifice, it was a plot.
Yeah, the plot literally revolves around her making this choice and willingly doing this thing, and she still feels like she doesn't have agency.
She is a pawn.
You can't be held accountable for decisions you make in dreams.
True.
Fair enough.
I relate to this sentiment so much, of just wanting there to be more, because
Yeah, we're targeted.
yeah, I said at the beginning of this episode that Kamen Rider Black is at best when it's letting your brain do the work, and then when it shows you what it has in its hand, it's very underwhelming compared to what it could have been.
It's the mystery before the reveal.
And it's just like, you have an episode about dreams and siblings sacrificing like each other for themselves, or other way around, themselves for each other, and it should be this really kind of like personal character drama, but these characters don't have personalities beyond like what we've seen in the first 5 minutes, and the episode takes place during the day, and
This is
It
true.
does, yeah.
It's just so eepy.
like Theo had mentioned that it was really cool to see in the first couple episodes those rain-soaked nights and how powerful those shots were. Why? We know they have the capabilities to do that. Why not bring them back?
Unless they really don't have the budget to have done it beyond their first big impression episodes. But the aesthetic of that, imagining that, like, we've already talked about how much we liked her chasing after the phantom dreams of her brother. Imagine that reflected in those, like, rainy streets with the neon lights and the crowded city.
Right?
The vibes. Give her a Pepsi.
Mm-hmm.
Like 3 a.m, the city is as dead as it'll ever be, and there's just like wandering souls that you'll never ever see again, passing you by as you're reminiscing about this and your brother, and it's just like, it makes me, I adore this episode, but it also makes me mad.
That's so
That's
fair.
Okay, there is one caveat to my, like, the episode proceeds exactly as you'd expect. I was honestly kind of wondering if, like, Nobuhiko, like, would summon his last vestige of humanity to, like, save his sister, to stop the life force transference. He doesn't.
Yeah, he's gone.
Defeats the tapir in time, so she is released from the dream space.
Because wouldn't that have been too good? Wouldn't it have been something if the moment her, like, life energy made contact with his, that his consciousness could somehow, like, they could resonate with one another and communicate, and he'd be like, no, I don't want this, and force her out. And while they're like, wait, something's going wrong, what's happening? Then, like, they get the news of their monster dying outside, and they're like, oh, we gotta go, guys.
It'd be so good.
It'd be insane. God, that'd be fucking good.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame. I guess, maybe what they're telling instead is that Nobuhiko is either just not cognizant or he's fully in Shadow Moon mode.
I'm hoping the former, but there's We're definitely going to say the latter later, I'm sure of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm very curious to see how, if at all, our tunes might change once Shadow Moon does finally get fully introduced to the show. Like, all I know about Shadow Moon is that he looks cool and he's got a cool sword. That's about as much as I can do for you. So I am legitimately very curious to see where some of this kind of like family conflict plot type of stuff will get to go once he gets to be an actor on screen.
My emotions.
There's one cool bit in the fight that I gotta shout out. So Taper Monster, one of its combat maneuvers is just like shooting a bunch of burning projectiles from its mouth. And one time when it's about to uncork this move, or right before Katara goes to the finish, he just jams his fist into its mouth and its cheeks puff up and explode.
It's good.
It's very
fun.
good. Yeah.
Very, very good, like, practical effect on the puppet head or the suit head just swelling up and bursting.
You can always count on Kamen Rider Black for good practical effects.
Yeah, so many opposable parts in these monster suits compared to, like, Ichigo. And even, honestly, to an extent, Kuga?
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah. There are definitely some parts on some of these monsters that they make move that they didn't have to, and it's very impressive how well they do it.
Like, we glossed over it, but there was, like, the elephant blinks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and a lot of them have, like, opposable jaws, or at least, like, flexible jaws that look like they can be moved a little to flap their gums, which rules.
I can just see all of the talent that they have with this. And I suppose I might be sounding a little bit like Shakespeare. It sounds all the more or it feels a little bit disappointing when they don't do that. Those things that I know that they have proven that they can do. I know that this was probably a time constraint thing, but Abaku is also made up of, like, other creatures. One of them is like a tiger. So, like, imagine if, like, the Baku was in the background and, you know, being more about subterfuge and kind of being the puppet master of everything. And then the tiger was actually chasing, like, Kotaro.
That does sound very cool, but that also does sound like a bit of a big staffing undertaking.
It most certainly is. Which I think is part of the reason why I'm just, like, again, kind of committed to the vibes. Because conceptually, I think Kamen Rider Black episodes, when they're good, are like the best concepts that we have seen from Kamen Rider thus far.
Yeah, I think I'm inclined to agree, at least on an individual concept kind of a level.
We mentioned the, like, Gorgon realm, and, like, that's just like a primordial hellscape. That's so cool.
It's very cool. I would love to learn more about Gorgon World.
Imagine if the last couple episodes of Kamen Rider Black were like, the heroes go into this other world and then they're kind of pushed to their limits and kind of leaning more into that horror aesthetic that Kamen Rider Shin went with. They're not gonna do that, but it'd be really cool.
I will say, Black Sun, they don't do that. They go in an extremely different direction. There's certain elements and characters that are carried over, but yeah, it's kind of wild how they remix the basic premise of. They really kind of just go all in on, like, this is about Nobuhiko and Kotaro.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I watched an episode of Black Sun, but never finished it. And just from what you've said and from that episode, it seems like they made it more character-centric and a lot more personal in their stories. And that's just not at all what this has been so far.
It's interesting. I'm going to have to revisit it after wrapping up Black to kind of watch it again with new knowledge.
Yeah, I would definitely be interested in giving Black Sun a watch. I think it's always very interesting to see what they decide to do when they decide to revisit a Kamen Rider, especially some of the older ones. They'll really take things in an interesting new direction. The one experience I kind of have with that is with Amazons. I never watched the original Amazon from the 70s, but I know that the Amazons from 2016 is quite a different thing from that version of the show. So it's always interesting to see what changes and what other directions they try to go, and what like parts of what were already established they decide to focus in on.
I'm very interested about all of that. Despite my frustrations with this episode, it was honestly probably my favorite episode, or one of them, in Black thus far. And I hope there are more like it in the future.
Well, it sounds like we've said all that we have to say about these episodes, which means it's time for my personal favorite part of the podcast. It's time for, I think, everybody's favorite part of the podcast, is our death count with B-drops.
Hello. First and foremost, I'll start us off with the window count. Our count is very low this time. We have only one window breaking in these set of episodes, so that brings us up to 18 total as of Kamen Rider episode 17. And we have a good handful of deaths at least. Like I said, I counted all of those eggs from episode 13 as kills. So in total, we saw 9 of those, which means episode 13 alone has 13 kills for Team Rider. No Team Gorgum kills for any of these. So, counting our 4 other Kaijin Rider kills, we have 14 more for them and 14 in total for this set of episodes. That brings us up to 31 kills for Team Kamen Rider, 6 kills for Team Gorgum, and a grand total of 37 total kills in Kamen Rider Black as of episode 17.
Woo! Alright, we're starting to pick business up a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Steady climbing, but we're getting there.
An interesting midpoint between the, like the tons of mooks of Ichigo and, the Rakuga, where we had a very limited number of Team Rider kills and piles upon piles of Team Rocky.
God.
1,000+ civilians.
Now we have no mooks and just boss fights.
Curious to see how things will continue. I'm very interested to see how the death counter is going to be affected once Shadow Moon shows up. I'm real interested to see what that's going to do.
Yeah, let's see. Fingers crossed. Nobuhiko, get those kills up.
I hope he does, although I feel like we're gonna just kind of stay at an even level.
We shall see. In the meantime, we would like to thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Long Time Watcher, First Time Writer. We hope you had an excellent time. We are going to be continuing with this new style of episodes. We're going to do another batch of 5 next time for episode 66. Those are going to be episode 18, Sword State Bilgania, is how I've decided I'm going to pronounce that. Sword State Bilgania. Episode 19, The Limit Reaching Hellish Trap. That's very different than the subtitle the title I saw when I watched it. Episode 20, Rider's Graveyard. Episode 21, Crash, Two Great Machines. And episode 22, The Black Shadow That Attacks Papa.
I love that title.
It's a very good title. We hope that you have enjoyed the episode. We hope that you have a wonderful day or afternoon or whenever it is that you are checking this out. And as always, please remember that if you can't believe in God and you can't believe in Buddha, you can always believe in Kamen Rider.